The inevitable truth is that your life won't last forever. You think about the people you love deeply, and thinking about it might actually hurt. Have you ever wondered if you missed opportunities to show more love, give more love, or demonstrate more love? There are times in our life when we are reminded that there is nothing more important than love. Because the greatest single need and desire of humanity is love. To love is the greatest power, privilege, and freedom we possess. And every thought, word, and action motivated by love matters. Love is the highest expression of what it means to be human. What I'd like to offer you is the idea to not leave love left undone. There may be things you don't accomplish, attain, or achieve in this world, but don't let shrinking back from love be one of them. If you're fortunate, you discover that love is the only thing that really matters. Love heals everything, and love is all there is. That's why I've started a love wave, an intention to demonstrate the undeniable possibilities when we look at life through the lens of love. After all, as you look back at your life, I'm sure you'll agree that life was always about that. It was all about love. This show is intended to highlight those that are committed, like I am, to bring their experiences, insights, and wisdom to advance what we believe to be true. That love is still the answer. Welcome to Love Wave Live. Welcome to Love Wave Live. Listen to me hear myself. It's kind of funny, but welcome everyone to the virtual stage known as Love Wave. I'm Joe Italic, if we aren't acquainted, and I'm just really honored to be here today to provide a stage, a place for diverse individuals who can come and share their own heart and how love has impacted them, their lives, and how it actually aligns with what Love Wave is all about. And it is to absolutely demonstrate, teach, and impart the possibilities, gosh, in life when we actually look at things through that lens, the lens of love. Recently, there was a friend of mine who posted something on social media, and I was really intrigued with the statement. And the statement was that loyalty is greater than love. And I was really curious about the meaning behind that. So I didn't reach out to her, but I wanted to. I just processed it in my mind and thought loyalty is greater than love. What does that mean? And yeah, and why did it bug me so much? And then I began to really remember that in my own experience that I see love as this really deep rooted and very grounded, alive and healthy tree. And that the branches of this tree are all the things that are derivatives of love, whether they be kindness and patience and goodness, surprising and delighting other people, and loyalty. So I'm always intrigued by one's ideas and thoughts about love. And so that's why I'm continuing to explore people's experiences and what it has meant for them. And today I have a guest who's going to come on and specifically speak about creating joy, which also is one of those brothers and sisters of love. It's a result of love. And I'm really excited to bring her on to take the Love Wave Live stage. Now, I met Michelle through a mutual friend, Katie Lasky Lovebomb, and she's actually been a guest here on the virtual stage. And Katie actually connected with Michelle's husband, Michael, and the four of us met on a Zoom call.
And, Katie's in Southern California, I'm in Arizona, and the Crists are in Kansas. We began to see our commonalities and just the orchestration of the universe and bringing like-minded and like-hearted people together, something that we have always wanted to create, right, in our lives and in our businesses, etc. We have this connection that is undeniable. And so it's really neat to lock arm in arm with those that are doing the work of love. And so I want to share you a little bit more about Michelle before she comes on. Now, she definitely knows the difference between you and the storm. She wants to help your voice truly be heard as you walk forward in your own journey. Now, over the last 20 years, Michelle has helped hundreds of families find clear and powerful small action steps to move from overwhelm to leveling up, to taking action, and to creating positive change. And thanks to COVID, she loves connecting directly from her cozy farm in Kansas, all while rescuing a mailman from her polar bear, which is her farm dog. So I want y'all to get ready to feel seen and find ways to be heard, and welcome my friend and my guest, Michelle Crist.
Hi, Joe.
Hey. Wonderful to see you. So what's happening in Kansas?
Ice and cold weather, and then it melts, and then it's muddy, and it's a puddle. So everything's happening in Kansas.
Ice. Yeah, not my favorite weather condition, that's for sure. But, I really respect those in the Midwest and the East that experience like the change in weather. And with Arizona and Southern California and San Diego, where I'm from, it's kind of boring. We have 4 seasons. We don't have anything drastic, that happens. So that's pretty neat. When you and I met, we talked, you introduced to me this idea of tactical joy.
It was boring talking to you. I love that.
And so, here's the thing. Before you take the stage, I want you to share a little bit about what is tactical joy?
So we were talking and we all connected because we were at this place where we knew the value of love as an action in our life. Now, we met because we all were choosing to lean in the hard places. My family has struggled with PTSD. My husband's a Marine. I have had trauma in my past, and our son, which I'll tell you guys about in a little bit. But leaning in was this way to grow through. And we were talking about how valuable love is as an action. And my family has been taking steps, and I've been coaching people for a long time, but in talking to you and really hearing how love was this key piece of why we were being successful, we hadn't even looked at it with those glasses, with those eyes. And we realized that we were intentionally using joy as a tool, as a fill in the gap, as a foundation. And to me, you put it so beautifully that, loyalty and love, it's this tree. And if you get the branches under the trunk, it's not going to stand. You got to know where the heart of something is to grow from it. And so we get to stand in a place of love. And I love using joy as a tool. It's my hammer. I don't think it's a hammer. I don't know. It's how we change the lens of where we're at and switch, because we have more practice doing it the negative way that dug the hole that we were so low.
Right.
How do we get out of there? And how do we honor our faith? Because here's really where I didn't think about this, Joe. I love conversations with you. We always get new stuff because we do that for each other.
Yeah.
I was at church, and it was Easter, and the pastor was talking about the perfect sacrifice that was given, that we can't live the perfect life. Jesus paid that price. And yet in our lives, we will take on suffering like it's our due. Well, and it kind of is. But if you've accepted that Jesus paid your price, you can't tip him by suffering yourself. That doesn't work that way. And so questions are my jam. And the question bubbled up of, well, how do I tip Jesus? How do I tip him? I mean, how do I say thank you? How do I live in gratitude for a gift that I didn't earn, that I couldn't even possibly begin to have done myself? How do
Right.
how do I tip? I'm like, joy. That because joy is not happiness. Joy is choosing to be positive, to lean in when it's hard. And how is this for me, not against me? And so we've started using as a tool, and tactical joy is just I have 3 concepts that I really break down and walk people through. We've got an 8-week program we're gonna launch. Your conversation with us, the friendship, the way the universe brought us together has sparked some changes that are just rippling outward, and it has been beautiful. It truly is a love wave. I love it.
That's awesome. All right. I can't wait for you to dig in. For those who are watching live, as well as those that on the replay, say hello. Tell us where you're from. If during the talk today, if you have any questions or comments, please place those in as well, and we'll address those as best that we can. But without further ado, the name of your talk is Eye of the Storm. And
Yes.
everyone, here is Michelle Crist.
Oh, guys, you're amazing. And I'm so glad you're here, whether you're live or on the replay. This is a moment where I'm looking into a camera, but you got to know I'm looking into your heart. In high school, I had an amazing friend that after a night at our dinner table, practicing our calculus questions, getting ready for the final, our entire lives changed. I literally talked to her a couple weeks ago, and we both went back to that moment, and we can't believe how different life is stemming from this one little story. It's such a little story. Sitting there in my living room, or in my dining room, the phone rang in the living room. And this is before cell phones. It was not sitting on the table. You had to go to where it was plugged in. And I walk in the kitchen, down to the living room, and hello? On the other end, her mother is sobbing uncontrollably. I can't even understand what she's saying. Eventually, I get that she's coming to pick Trisha up, that she has to leave. She can't stay and study with us anymore. And we're like, okay, we kind of understand. As friends, I knew her home life was hard and that at times things got really crazy. As I watched her get into the car, the door shut. I saw her mom shaking, tears, just she was a wreck. My heart dropped as the crunch of the tires and they went down the alley. My whole being dropped. I had to follow her and make sure she was okay. My friend Sean was studying with us that night, and I made him come with us. He was this little bitty skinny guy. I think he was maybe 75 pounds sopping wet. And as we pull up in front of Trisha's house, he looks at me and he goes, I am not going in there. I said, I understand. Because what we both knew is Trisha's dad was just home from prison, and he struggled terribly with mental health issues, anger. But I couldn't just trust that she was going to be okay. I felt that pull in my heart. And there's these times in life where you need to listen to that pull. It's not comfortable. What girl in their right mind in high school leans in and decides to follow her friend into the war zone? Because that's what it was. I knocked on her front door. I asked my friend Sean to stay out in the car. And if I hadn't made it back out in 10 minutes, I needed him to go get the police. Knocking on the front door, her mom came and she opened the door. And she tried to convince me to leave, like push me. I just gently walked past her and she went and hid in a corner of the house. I hope you don't know this feeling, but I think many of you will. When you step into a room and the emotions are pure evil and heavy and the complete opposite and lack of love, hate and fear, it felt like it was pressing me back. He was yelling from a corner in the back of the house in the kitchen, just out of sight. And I loudly and calmly said I had a question from calculus to ask Trisha and that I was going to go ask her. As grace would have it, I made it through the home without any incident. He never came out of the room. I really think God's hands were with me that night. And when I opened up Trisha's door, she was standing there looking like, "What are you doing here?" I walked up, I gave her the biggest hug. I said, "Are you okay? Are you where you need to be?" How many times in life have we hoped somebody would ask that? Did we know that was the question in our heart? She got this look in her eyes. There weren't tears, it was just emotion. And she smiled at me. She goes, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I could see this was a storm that she knew. Walking out to the porch and leaving, I honored that she understood this storm and that she could know if it was safe to stay. It hit me that day. We all have our storms. There's a person inside, and too often we stop when we see the storm or we judge about the storm we see. And we never get to the person in the middle. God is amazing because he lays these things in a life, in a line, that lets us become the person that he can use to do great things. So, one of the reasons I had to follow my friend that night is when I was 14 years old, just barely a freshman in high school, I'm giving you all the heavy stuff, guys. Gonna make me cry. I'm sharing all my stuff. I went to school and we had our parent-teacher conferences. My mom and I went and I was rocking the grades. I felt very accomplished. I was very proud that my teachers were happy. And afterwards, my mom said we needed to go pick up some laundry detergent and dish soap. The things you remember, right? And as we pull into the Dillon's parking lot, it is packed. We actually had to do a couple around the parking lot to figure out where to park, wait for an open slot. And I saw my drama teacher. I was going to have him next semester. I talked to him that night, and he was having some kind of an argument with some people by a car. Didn't think much of it, just noticed. And as we came around and stopped to get into this parking place, he actually limped in front of us, missing his glasses. We park right by the window where he just walked in. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a kid with a toy gun. Only it wasn't a kid and it wasn't a toy gun. He loaded the shell, followed him into the, and then right in front of me, took the life of my teacher. Calmly turned around and went out the outdoor, looked me straight in the face and ejected the shell. Guys, there are moments in life. I call them calibration moments. If you ever need a time machine, find somebody with an experience that is a true life calibration moment. We often set our heart and stand with our feet planted in places that are not solid. Love is solid. Fear will suck you down. I stood there unsure what to do. Do I stop the man? My teacher has already passed away. And we just froze. We froze. And then we left. And then we came back and talked to the police. And it was so surreal. There are moments in life that become two-dimensional. To me, PTSD, we get talked about this a lot. And we stop at it's a diagnosis. But what it really is is there's so much life coming at somebody with no resources to take care of it, no resources to process it. The only things that grow on us automatically are our hair and our height, maybe our waistline. But emotional growth and maturity, those are choices. Life's going to hand us hard things all the time. And how we learn to lean in and grow through them will determine whether or not we can handle them or we get a bit broken. We skew our life view. And love to us seems too hard to show up in some places in life. Well, I got to tell you, that was a life calibration moment for me. When I went to school a few days later, I could not believe how normal everything seemed. All the same kids were walking to all the same classes. All the same teachers were yelling about getting these homework assignments in, or don't go down that hallway, stop running, all the things. It was so normal. Something hit me as I sat in my first class. I didn't know a lot of people. There were some things that happened when I was younger that my defense, my safety net was to keep a pretty good distance. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't connect with people. I didn't think it was a problem. Until sitting in that math class, I looked around and realized that none of these people would have known if I'd been shot too. I tell you, those questions, power questions, there is transformational power in questions. If you have them bubbling up, you've got to listen to them. Lean in if it's hard. This one here, straight grace, guys. I heard the question of, well, what does that mean if nobody would have known that you died too? I didn't question my worthiness or anything. It was a question. What does that mean? Kind of like, what does life mean? Life calibration moment. You know what it means? We're here for more than just to be ourselves. We're here to connect. There is power in connection. That is an love, not as a thought. That is love as an action. Then the question comes, what do I do? Here I am, a freshman in high school. I don't have any friends. Nobody knows who I am. I have very successfully ducked the radar of everybody. And I realized maybe what I can do is smile and see somebody. I met Trisha that day. If we'd known each other before, we didn't know each other. We'd seen each other's storms. But intention changes a storm. It changes my storm, and it gives me some sight to look into the storm of another person. That's powerful. We've got to realize that we each have our storms, and I have mine, you have yours. And that if I want to see you, I've got to look for you. And it is powerful if you stop and say, oh, I do see you. Do you know how to tell somebody you see them? Smile at them. And we think about what the smile means about us. It doesn't mean anything about you other than you're willing to connect with the other person. I tell you these stories because they are life calibration moments. I need you to know the power that has happened in those. There is strategies that came later because honestly, I didn't have a mentor in my life. I didn't have a time machine to compress somebody else's experience. Oh, I guess I didn't tell you. Did you know that time travel's real? Absolutely. You don't get to go backwards in your own timeline, but you do get to get the value of anyone willing to share the diamonds from their own compressed timeline. I'm sharing my diamonds, guys. There is transformational value in action from love. That's what joy is to me. I've got some things and I've got notes because I get distracted. The blue hair should be a clue. You have to see what's going on in your life. See it, diffuse it, and choose it. It's what I walk people through. I have people go, Michelle, I keep getting on the merry-go-round. I keep doing the same thing. I feel overwhelmed even thinking I need to change something. And I go, I get it. So let's see what's going on. Because here's the trick. Limiting beliefs in our life, they don't go, hey, I'm a limiting belief. No, they like just keep going, sniper, trip you when you're not looking. Ah, you gained that 10 pounds right back. Or you're having the same argument again. Or how about I got to sit front row center to my husband and his first wife's divorce and them trying to co-parent. It made me an insta mom. I suddenly had 2 kids, like fall in love, 2 kids. It was fantastic. One of the hardest things to watch, though, was 2 people that obviously loved each other at one point, that loved their children, sit here and argue with each other and never hear what the other one was saying. I'm like, how do we get there? How do we get there? Well, we start looking at the storm. We start hiding within our own storm. And we stop remembering there's a person in there we need to connect with. Now, when it comes to connecting with people in a family situation or a value relationship situation, you need to understand you're not a snapshot. You're not a 2-dimensional picture. You're not, hey, I like French toast and my hair is blonde and I have a favorite color blue. By the way, that doesn't work for me. I don't have a favorite color. And yes, my hair is that. But we are in motion. And if you want to stay in connection with another human being, which it's valuable, and I think you should, and there is life change happened in connection, that is one piece where I encourage you to, how do you get deeper connections? You have to grow them. You have to intentionally grow them. Okay? So many of us have kids. It has been a breeding ground for practicing life coaching. I don't recommend having kids for training of life coaching, but it works really well. My bonus son has taken us through the roller coaster. And our family, starting at the place where everybody's arguing, I'm sitting here going, how do I get these people to hear each other so that we can grow a family that has more happiness and joy and get out of the hole we were in? Guys, the emotional mindset hole usually turns into a life hole. And that meant we were struggling financially. We were struggling physically with our health. It became, we needed a whole reset. And what happened was we got a mindset, nutrition reset. We understood motion and our sight and solution. They all needed calibrated, but we didn't know to apply the joy and the love. We had a big old bell just bang, get rung in our life. And I want to share it with you because I want you to hear my bell and see if you maybe are walking towards the same bell yourself. Is there somebody you are connected with that is part of your life, or it's yourself, that you're okay living life with an empty cup, a broken cup? You're not focusing on putting love and joy in your life, then you're walking towards some big risks. I got a phone call. What is it with phones and me? I tell you what, I'm done. I'm giving them up. No, I got a phone call late one evening that Wyatt, my bonus son, had attempted suicide and they were taking him to the hospital. Fortunately, he was not successful, but in the middle of what was probably a very normal life argument at home at his mom's house, a couple hours away from our home, he decided the only option was, he was overwhelmed, he had no tools in his toolbox, and he decided to just end his life. That was the only option he had. Guys, you want to talk about getting smacked in the face? That I've got to be more, that I've got to know more? Because as a parent, what is our job? What is our duty? What is our privilege? What is our God-given gift here? These children are gifted in our lives, whether they are born of our body or brought to us in life. These are God's gifts. He brought us together. How do I honor that and see him struggle that way and not just... I had just recently started a supplementation business and was doing some coaching and understanding my life needed unraveled. And this happened 30 days in. it gave us an opportunity to recalibrate our vision and our sight of what was going on in our life. We had to be intentional. If you met my husband, who when I started dating him, you had to throw a pillow at him to wake him up, PTSD, Afghanistan, Marine, sleep was not rest to him. And my son, struggling at the bottom, no tools in his toolbox, to where we are today, these men shine with life growth, emotional maturity. People are drawn to them to answer questions, to be lifted up. They've taken those moments and the concepts we're pulling together as a family and sharing with others to change their life and impact the lives around them. I had all these notes. You guys got like all the heart. So what is tactical joy? Because that's what happened. We started using joy as a tool, not a thought. It's not happiness. Happiness is I got popcorn, my favorite movie, and a $5 check came in the mail for a rebate. That's a happy day. I mean, joy is we look at a hard situation, and we go, well, okay, one, I am worthy and so are you. Worthiness is innate. It's immutable. You are worthy. You want to know about an it factor to me? Immutable, innate worthiness and tactical joy. Using joy, using love to be the lens for how you create and make change in your life. When we do tactical joy, we talk about compassion, because compassion is that key to unlocking what's going on. You have to see where you're at. The best map in the world doesn't take you anywhere if you don't know where you're at on it. You've got to see with an open heart and lots of compassion. I call it compassion jam. You just open a jar and, dump it on. It is refillable. Please use it a lot. And connection. We've already talked about connection, guys. It opens doors. We are not meant to be alone. We're not meant to survive an 18-year sentence as a parent. We are gifted with this time to equip our children, give them a value of self, start opening their eyes for problem solving from a place of strength and a worthiness. I grew up and I thought being a good parent was making sure that your kid had the list of do not do's. Don't get F's, don't drop stuff on the floor, don't break things, don't lose all your money, the don't do's. It's kind of like you had to carve a kid out. Oh man, it's no wonder I got so empty. We need curiosity in our life. Curiosity is a place of creation. There are some beautiful sculptures in this world, and I love old trees that people have sculpted into stuff. But any wooden sculptures of stone, please remember, those are dead items. You can't sculpt people. You grow people. And it's a divine gift to be in the lives of your children and the relationships. We have to get past our storms and encourage each other to grow. So we use compassion, curiosity, and connection. To me, joy is about gas. You got to have gas in your tank. Gratitude, action, and strategy. If I take gratitude, action, and strategy and pair it together with compassion, curiosity, and connection, it's why I have so much fun with my life coaching clients. It's why I see my son and my husband drawing people around him that are strangers and asking them, how do I get deeper? Where do I go next? It is a ripple. And you know what, Joe? It's really a love wave. I just call it tactical joy. I got to tell you that it has been such an honor for meeting you and being on this stage. And I love oh my gosh, I love what you're doing, spreading this powerful message to so many people. Ah, Joe, you're fantastic. I've loved being on here with you. I could talk to you all day. You know that. Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. That is absolutely true. I know that the times that the four of us get together, we don't even look at the clock, you know? It's really, really,
An
I know.
unending tea chat. It's just unending. You always want to come back for another cup of tea because these are the people, oh, you just like, yeah.
Yeah. So, Michelle, thank you so much. Yeah, I took some notes here and I want to dive in a little bit about some of the things that you shared. So you capsulized things at the very end really nicely in terms of the three steps or, and guidance in terms of building joy and what you say are key relationships.
Yeah.
What would you like say when you say key relationships? Provide some clarity for me around that.
So I don't know if this is because I'm an artist, dyslexic, or just the way my brain works, but when I find a good tool, I see that it works in a lot of different areas.
Right.
And when I say key relationships, I mean anything that you need better communication or better effect. So that can be coworkers. If you bring tactical joy to a relationship, I have some stories about relationships with people I worked with. It was so difficult. We were so at odds. But you know what? I just stepped out of that and I went, I see you, and here's your favorite breakfast sandwich. I'm going to pay $2 a day. And I'm going to tell you it's okay that we don't get along. And I'm still going to be here. And I love you as a person. We don't have to agree on all the things. Oh my gosh, this is a time where people think we have to agree on everything to be civil and kind. And that's not true. It's just not true. So key relationships, if you want more joy in your own life, you have to honor that there are other people that you're connected with, whether you like them or don't like them. We get to honor that and pour some love on it, pour some compassion on it, and just our life changes when we do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In terms of, so are these in succession? So compassion, curiosity, connection, are they intertwined? I mean, these three steps, I mean, it's, yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
A great question. No, and here's what it is. We are all a ball of mess. And everybody starts in a little different place. I actually do a joy assessment with people when I'm doing coaching, or I have a tool that they can like capture their day, and it lets us know where they're at. Because if we can see where it's almost like a wheel. Where are you strong at? Most people are using one or two in a little bit. And if you bring focus on it, oh yeah, okay. But we got to bring out the other side and balance it. And when we do that, we see ourselves grabbing it quicker. And it becomes a habit. We're more practiced at our negative habits. It's our survival habits for when we don't have strategies, when we don't have any training or example to do it in a positive way. So we really have to be compassionate to ourselves that we get where we get because of the things we've been doing. And if we want to go somewhere different, we have to see what we're doing to change it.
Absolutely. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the stories that you started with. I know the mic is sounding a little weird right now, and we'll just deal with it here.
It's talking to you.
And to experience, first of all, as a high schooler, I have a high schooler right now, and I think about, like, would she follow a friend home with this gut feeling of, I need to follow her. I need to be sure that she's okay. Walk into what you had said is the war zone as a teenager.
I was sure he was going to beat me up. I mean, I had been taking martial arts since I was a kid. We had stalkers and problems. And a lot of the reasons I didn't have friends was safety was an issue since I was in kindergarten, that I was supposed to keep distance and be aware. And it just makes what it is. But I was like, I can handle myself to at least survive 10 minutes is what I thought. And
but what was it though in you in retrospect? Because as a teenager, you may not have been conscious of, this is what like moved me to get in the car and to follow her, take my skinny friend and say, "You're driving me," right? What was it that prompted you as you can reflect back, pulling back the layers of just, I care about my friend. What was it that actually prompted this young person to enter this knowing I'm probably going to get beat up? Could you name that?
I think the seed of it was when I watched a man's life being taken from him. And there's no redo on that. And I couldn't have done it. I didn't know to act. I will tell you that strong situations, they look like normal French fry moments, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, whoa. So you got to act when you feel it. Because I believe the Holy Ghost is there telling you, but if we're not practiced at following it, we stand there and frozen like deer in the headlights. And I loved her. I do love her. And I felt that need to make sure she was okay. And I was willing to stand in her place. So you asked that question, and the only thing that my intuition brings up is love. I mean, love. I was thinking of her. I was willing to,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think our breath every day is a gift. And I don't think I knew that as a teenager, but asking to put it in words, maybe I did because of, there are a lot of factors in that, but I was willing to stand up. I knew nobody in her family was going to do anything about it. The reason he'd gone to jail had nothing to do with them turning him in or being clear about what was going on at home. But I knew enough to say that, you know what? Nobody's going to ignore it if you beat me up. You're not going to be able to hide that. Yeah. And I was willing to go stand there and accept it. I didn't poke the bear. I didn't go like, all right, let's get this done. I'm going to take care of this, the beat me up way. No, but I leaned in and I took a step of faith. So love and faith.
Yeah. Well, my first intuition was that it was love and intuition, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that many times we don't peel the layers back to say, what prompted me to do that, right? Because it's what's in us already that just moves us pretty quickly in that moment. Yeah. So when your intuition is saying something, there's this window of opportunity that you have to act. And that's what you do, right? Mm-hmm. And then secondly, that's your story of just going to school and then you're stopping by the grocery store, you park and just happen to see your job. You're like, oh my God. And then he's killed.
Yeah.
Right in front of him. I mean, it's traumatic. You go back.
They had me testify because I'd seen so much of what happened. So testifying in court was a very odd, to recount it while he sits there. Again, I'm 14 years old. I just recently am finding myself, and then all this happens. And they have you sit in like these talk about it groups. And you get to hear everybody else's, because it becomes two-dimensional. PTSD has a way of flattening things, and it becomes like a movie screen in your head. I could not watch cops shows for a long time, and the color white really bothered me. Well, I was seeing the white tile where his head should have been. So unraveling all that stuff, I did it in my own time because I was like, I'm fine, and so when I met my husband, I understood that struggle of PTSD that he was locked in. It looked so familiar to me. And so I shared tools with him, and that's part of when we coach from a place of trauma. Changing your environment to be an intentional environment, listening to different music at nighttime, sounds, smells, sights. It is about your brain is powerful, and it's been through something that has turned off its ability to process things. So having strategies is key. If we're struggling in life, we can't just go, oh, it's just life, it's struggle. Then it will stay there. You just defined where you're at on the map, but you didn't look for any paths to go where you want to go. And so I love meeting people in the storm because they forget they're in a storm. They're like, oh, this just is. No, those aren't walls. Walk out. Let's go.
And you said we never get to the person in the middle
Mm.
in the storm. So what you said, during your talk. So unpack that just a little bit more. We never get to the person in the middle. Does that mean like hiding, or does it mean just like, is it around mitigating shame? What is it?
I will tell you, you do when you intentionally connect. Intentional connection, like dropping your stuff, dropping their stuff, getting past their guard, then you will get to the person in the middle. Sometimes we can see a person in the middle when we're good at managing our own storm that they can't even see themselves. And I will tell you, a lot of life coaches are good at that. They like look at you and they're like, don't you see your beauty? Don't you see your worthiness? No, I see my failures. I see all these things. And I talk about the 1 and the 99 when we're getting all motivational and stuff, but 1% better every day is a transformational in your life over time. 1%.
Absolutely.
But if you don't practice seeing that 1%, you're going to see the 99 things that are wackadoo wrong. And you don't know the value of where you're going. And so we get stuck in our unknowing of strategy, we've not trained our eyes to see this, and it's okay. It's fine. It's okay to be where we're at. But if we want to go somewhere different, we've got to do something a little bit different. So we get stuck in our own storm. We get focused on the storm. So the storm to me is energy. It can be positive or it can be negative.
Yeah,
and the storm, if we get good strategies, we can harness the energy. We can aim it. We can use it. Like, come on. I mean, I've got a past and a story of stuff that nobody would volunteer to go through. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because the energy from it and the clarity I've been able to have by leaning into my storm and looking for the diamonds that are in there.
Yes.
Doors. I mean,
I think that's important. It's scary for a lot of people, and we're not taught that, especially, in certain and many dysfunctional families. They don't know how to cope, and that's why people like yourself and who do the work to help unpack these beliefs and all the conditioning and all the programs and all these expectations, and then when people start to give themselves permission to really deconstruct these belief systems, these things that drive them, and show that they actually have the goods to take personal responsibility for their own happiness, and they're not responsible for everyone else's. I mean, it truly is life-changing. I want to share just a comment I think that people wanted to let you know there. So I'm going to you know Tina. So,
I love Tina. I love you.
And love only, love spiritual love. So just a comment here from a viewer.
I love it.
Cool. Yeah, so I want to ask, I know that you are you have a summit that you're speaking at.
I am.
Right?
Path to Powers. Yep, we're going to be Path to Powers, and it's a free summit. People can attend for free, and it is next week, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So
nice. And then I have
40 speakers.
Yeah, how many?
Over 40.
Oh wow!
It's
over the 3 days. Yeah. Oh, amazing. So everyone, you can search Michelle Crist on Facebook, but her actual address is in the banner below. Also, to contact her for any booking and or life coaching, etc., you'll see her email as well. Now, do you have a program that you're creating right now, or something that you're going to be launching?
I do. But on your thing, I wanted to give a free gift. I want to give away a free gift. So I have that joy assessment I was talking about. And normally we would do that for like $97. But I want to give away a 15-minute version with a worksheet and everything.
Awesome.
So Joe's got a special link for that. And if you want information about the other stuff, ask me. But for you guys today, I love Wave. I love the passion. I love the leaning in. And if I can share some tools and some insight to rock the end of 2020 and spark off something good in 2021, I'm down.
That's awesome. Thank you very, very much. Very cool. So for those of you watching, I'll definitely put the link in after the show, and you can check out the joy assessment. I know I'll take it. That's for sure. So Michelle, we're wrapping up here, and I've asked all the guests that have come on. I was looking backwards. I'm like, wow, I've done almost 30 shows, and it's just about really just showing up, for love. And it's been amazing for me to see commonalities as well as the diversity of all the speakers who have come on to take the stage. And so I thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing your genius and the things, your life experiences, and helping people to build and actually choose tactical joy as a way of being. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple questions before you leave. The first one is, if you were given a complimentary billboard that was going to be seen by thousands of people a day, right? And it was going to be there substantially for a good number of time, for a good number of time. What would your billboard say?
It would probably just say tactical joy, but I'm an artist, and I'm designing a pantry box for a local community. They asked me to paint it, and there's a picture to it. It's not done yet, so I can't show you, but it's basically this beautiful interactive background, like lots of color. I do acrylic pours and stuff, but in the foreground are these shadow, like silhouettes, and the silhouettes have hearts in them that are either empty or full. And the ones that have empty ones, somebody's handing them.
Oh.
So it's like filling it through connection. So I love words don't always get it. I love art. And so mine would be that interaction. I don't know which silhouette, because I have a variety of silhouettes I'm putting all over the box, and you'll have to follow me on Facebook if you want to see it. Yeah. I was supposed to be there this week. It's going to be done soon.
So you're my first guest with blue hair. And you're my first guest who, beyond just the words, has an image. So that's, hey, it's free, right?
I live in images. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, and here's the second question: is if you could be remembered only by your words, what would those words be?
So I have to give you a quick peek. My house is like covered in like words, like bright sticky notes with words, things that I tell myself. To share with others.
That you would be remembered by, what would those words be?
Man, I don't know.
That could be it, man. I don't know.
In my mind, I'm thinking of, you're worthy. You are beautiful. Your worth and beauty are we only ever get glimpses of our own worth and beauty in the ripple through connection where we lean in hard places.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, and it just goes to show you the power of words, right?
I love words. I said I was image, but I love words too. I love connection, and that's how you connect.
Absolutely. Well, Michelle, you're definitely, energetically and everything that I know in the short time that we've gotten to know each other, pure joy. And I just really appreciate your friendship and you coming on stage today. Thank you so much for sharing your own love journey. It's beautiful. And give your husband a big hug for me, for sure, as well. Yeah, you got it. For those of you who are watching, thanks again for joining us here on Love Wave Live, the virtual stage. Our intention really is to bring this beauty and diverse voices that, once again, we find the common scarlet thread sewn throughout of it. And it is the beauty of this love that sometimes is so indescribable. It's so, and continue to be unpacked and discovered. It is the power that can create the change. So in your own love journey, have the courage to dive deep and to get curious and to connect and to have compassion, and creating and building the joy in these relationships. And it could be curiosity and compassion, and for yourself too. And that's a relationship that's just as critical.
Yes.
But everyone know, no matter what questions come up in the remaining of this year and into 2021, that love is still the answer. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon. Take care. Love you.